Okay. You want to scoot closer a little bit, actually? Can you just like hold this like by your...
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I'm just gonna ask some pretty basic... Okay, so I just want to ask some basic questions.
Sure.
So what is your name?
Raptor, Matt.
My name is Daniel Duena.
My name is Gator Wire.
I'm Hunter Dean.
My name is Nathan James.
Kim Davis.
Name's Ryan Davis. My son Logan.
Davis, yeah. Cousin of Brandon.
Katana Zim.
Wade Stoltz.
My name is David Dean.
Evan Flick, Comedy Cuban.
Kyle Gaber.
I'm Gene Raymond.
My name's David Sane.
I'm Cindy. I was Brandon's aunt.
I'm Emma. I was Brandon's cousin. I'm Michaela. I'm his cousin as well.
So my name's Josh Deschelle. I go by JT.
Yeah, I'm Thomas, TC, or Firestorm, whatever.
My name is Rick Allen.
My name is Sandy.
I am Riley Harwood.
Rebecca Lemon. My name is Tiffany.
I'm Zach Higby.
And what was your relationship to Brandon?
Brandon's like a nephew, I guess. Dale's my brother. We played paintball together for 10, 15 years now. Watched him grow up at the field.
And who was Brandon to you?
He was my nephew.
Okay, so can you guys introduce yourselves?
Brandon was my brother.
Brandon was family.
I am Brandon's aunt by marriage.
I was his ex-girlfriend.
Friend, teammate, like a little brother to me.
He's been the longtime little brother of me and everyone else here at the field. I was his best friend, but I guess I'd consider more of a brother to him because I've known him since first grade.
I've been playing airsoft with him for a very long time.
Brandon, well, he was a good friend. I was one of his coaches. I would say teammate and co-ref most of the time. Kind of a little bit of everything on the field here.
He was a good friend. It wasn't like my best friend or like, he was more of an acquaintance to me when I was out here. But yeah, all of my interactions with him were really good.
Brandon was a influence on me and a full-on hero, which I think most people would call him. And he helped me through tough times.
Yeah.
Brandon's like the little brother I never had, you know, watching him grow up out here the last 9 or so years. It's just like a little brother, you know.
Brandon is someone who is just an amazing kid and fucking love that kid. He's my brother. He's known him since second grade. He was my first friend and I just miss that kid.
Like what would you say like your relationship with Brandon was?
Pretty strong relationship. I mean, the whole spring break that everything happened, spent every day with him. And before that, pretty much every day I was still hanging out with him. So we were pretty good friends.
Basically Brandon's uncle. I've known Brandon most all of his life. He was he was true to himself. He was a very funny guy. He was who he was. Nobody questioned who he was at all. He was just himself. A great, wonderful, smiling, fun-loving kid that seemed to have a really good future for himself. And he was a delight to be around.
Oh man. You know what? I've seen it posted on a lot of things, and they're right. I mean, when you got to this field, he was the first one to come up and say hi to you, ask you how your day was. How's it going? Let's get Dad today. Let's do this. Always smiling.
Always the jokester.
Always happy. Yeah, it's...
He gave the best bear hugs.
Yeah.
I miss those hugs. He was like my little brother. Known that kid since he was 5, maybe younger. Watched him grow up to be the young man he was.
So the relationship with me and Brandon was, I was his adopted brother, and it was the best thing.
Do you want to go into that a little bit?
So I became Brandon's adopted brother by moving in with him and his family. So throughout high school, I was living with my family, and I just wanted to, go out and live with my friend. And at first I didn't know what friend to live with, so I had some friends call and help me out. And Tommy took me under his wing, so ever since I've been brothers to those two.
Do you have a particular memory with him that you want to share?
On our way to Thunderdome and at the Thunderdome, freaking yelling at him to put deodorant on because he wouldn't wear it, because we're all stuffed in there. That was a good one. The Thunderdome, we had to buy a bunch of in-house BBs, and Dale was getting super mad because he couldn't find them, and Brandon found him and then set him on the table with the back open, and it spilled all the BBs on the ground. And did it like 3 times in a row, and Dale just about lost his cool. Brandon was getting so frustrated. Probably another one would be on this field, just playing with him, seeing him walk the line, being a medic for him, because he's always right up front. I don't know, just every time seeing him was a good memory at some point or another.
Okay. Hey, you guys cover me. Brandon, cover me. I'm gonna get Brandon. See them? Okay, you guys cover me. Come here. Medic! Get your reg out. Thank you. Can I get her back up and fight? They're right over to You're good. Fucking sending it!
A particular memory. One that I get a kick out of most of the time is he used to leave his hopper on in the shack all the time, and I would always have to remind him, well, you left your hopper on. So I kind of took advantage of that, and I'd go out on the field and I would tell him he left his hopper on, and he'd end up looking at it, turning it off. I'd walk away when I was reffing, and I'd hear, dang it! And he'd always yell at me for it, and I'd always trick him into turning his hopper off during a game. I think that gets me every time.
I do. Actually, the last time I was out on this field, We played paintball with about 6 inches of snow at Christmas time. It was just an intimate family party. There was about 6 of us. So yeah, the last time happy memories that I've had with Brandon were playing Fishing in the Dark, dancing in my mom's front room to that song, Two Stepping. And then when we came and played out here, he shot me twice in the rear and laughed each time.
Yeah. We were out here, me, Hunter, Xavier, we were all out here working on the field, and me and him decided to do a 1v1, and I shot him right in the face. And then he shot me in the finger.
I do, appropriate for this setting. I remember Brandon must have been probably 5-6 years old. You know, obviously Tommy was a little bit older than he was. We came out here for a family paintball gun, and I snuck up on them when they were in one of the shelters, and they both looked at me, and I gave them like, you know, a safety kill, and they just started opening fire on me, you know, so I ducked behind the corner, and then I turned around and I took one shot. I hit Brandon right in the forearm, you know, and he, like I said, he's 5 years old. He didn't cry, his arm swelled up. I felt really bad. I thought I was going to get in trouble by Uncle Dale, and yeah, he was tough. He was a good nephew.
I guess a good story for me is Brandon was a close cousin of mine. We lived pretty far apart, but didn't get to hang out with him as much as I would like to. But he always thought he could be better at me at Call of Duty. But every time we tried that, I put him in his place, as the older cousin should.
When he came over for the last Super Bowl and we hung out all day.
Oh, I honestly cannot think of anything. I think my last memory of him was at the very first game of the year this year, in like March. And I just like specifically remember him grabbing one guy. I'm like, yo dude, let's go rush these dudes. And him and the other guy just started running at these guys, having the best time. And that was how Brandon always was out here. He was just having fun, and that was why he was here.
Yeah. The night before he went, we were out here camping, and we had a flask full of like whiskey or something like that, and we were with Hunter Dean, and the cops pulled up on the outside, and we go, "What's happening out there?" And they're like, "The cops." Hunter said, "The cops are here." And Brandon instantly goes, "Hide everything," and fucking runs out the door, and we're all like looking to see, but it was just an oversized load, so it was pretty funny.
Where to begin? Where to begin? I'd probably have to say my favorite memory is when I first met Brandon. Tiny little kid, super little, hand straight out. "Hi, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you. Can I give you a hug?" He asked before he gave me a hug. I'm like, "Of course." And every week, every time we'd go to the indoor, here's this kid with a gun bigger than him, wearing gear too big for him, but he wanted to fit in and follow up with everybody. And he always made sure that everybody was having fun. Even as little as he was then.
For me, it's not really one memory. It's just
several.
It's just Brandon. It's like watching my own kids grow up. I mean, I didn't know him as long as Kat did. I've known him since 2008. And it's just watching one of my kids grow up, becoming that one that is wants to help, but just wasn't quite big enough to do it, to the one that was big enough to do it now and help everybody out. And yeah, I think that's what makes it really tough. Having as many kids as I have, and even though Brandon wasn't mine, he just felt like one of my kids.
Right.
One of the funniest memories I have with him, running out on the field, I was always a pump player. You know, I'd carry a lot of extra ammo, but I was always, you know, not going through much. One day I go out and he starts passing me because he's already out of ammo. I look at him, shake my head, grab a pod, pass it to him, like, make it last. We ran for the next half an hour, just having a blast next to each other, and it was always fun. Every time I come and see Brandon, he'd always come and show up and always have a hug for me and always make things way better.
Do you have a
well, we spent a lot of time taco nights at a friend's house, and he just made it a lot more fun. He just a lot of humor, jokes, just a lot of fun.
Not anyone in particular, but like there was never a bad day with Brandon. Like you couldn't be around him and not pop a dumb smile because he would be doing the same thing.
I don't think it's going to bring my Gabe out here, one of my sons, and was it last year or something, and I see with all the younger crowd when they come in, just the way that he it's like best friends to everybody, you know, and no judgment, no nothing. It just, I don't know if there's just one specific one that comes to mind, because it's just like kind of routine, you know, seeing it over and over and over.
It's over on the table where the teacher. Was it Christmas? Oh, Christmas was always fun.
We always play spoons.
Spoons is always.
We get pretty aggressive
with those spoons.
Whenever we went over to Montana too, played with Uncle Corey before he passed away. That was interesting.
Playing on water slides together.
Yeah. As a kid, yeah. Watching the two of them drive around in a little tiny battery-operated Jeep. Brandon and Emma did that. That was really cool to see them do that.
Babysat him a few times, and that was an experience.
And Brandon helping me out with yard work. And I had to remind him that he needed to empty the bag and not just do the whole yard with one bag. So it was quite hilarious, but we had fun.
So. Did a lot of yard work together.
I mean, it's so hard to pick any in just one, but I'd have to probably share the super game memory of all of us, you know, digging around and having to pour a water bottle in Brandon's pocket, and you know, he just sat there and laughed about it, and it was whatever to him. He was always a fun-hearted kid and everything. It's really hard to just pick one though. Well, I've shared it a lot just because it's kind of more recent, but when Brandon decided with that truck to send it through the middle of a giant pond and got it stuck, it was pretty funny. We were going at that for about a couple hours.
Yeah. So this hat, during the winter, we went sledding and my hat got completely soaked, and I didn't have a car or anything, so I walked all the way to his house, and that was a good mile. So hat got soaked. I had to drag all the sleds back, and so he gave me this hat so I wouldn't be cold and all that. And yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in particular. I mean, I just watched him grow up here. He's just a caring kid. Like, he just was always here, always had a smile, always had a hug for you when you showed up. You know, like, just loved the sport, just loved the people. I mean, it's just kind of who he was as a person.
Oh gosh, there's a lot. Honestly, the best memory I have with Brandon is not necessarily on the field, but it was at the house. We were about to go to a private game. We had just loaded up some equipment, and Brandon looks over at me and he goes, "You want to bang?" And I just go, "What?" And with this cheesy grin, he goes under his seat and he pulls out a bang. And to me,
like the energy drink?
Like the energy drink. And I just thought that was like the highlight of like the whole true personality of Brandon. I mean, there's a lot, but to me, that's our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time I met him, 4 years old. Walked up behind him. Usually don't want to shoot a little kid on the paintball field, especially that young. And I kind of went up to him and gave him a chance to surrender, and he turned around and shot me from head to toe. And I gave him a high five, and we were good friends ever since. And he was pretty much raised on this field, so I saw him grow up. You know, he was a 16-year-old, but he had the sense of humor of one of us. So when he said stuff, it was actually funny. So that always, he had a great sense of humor, and he was always smiling. So that's what I loved. That's what I remember about him a lot.
When Brandon was a baby, this is one of my best memories of him. When he was a baby, he had a fever. Like little babies get fevers all the time. And he was hot because he had a fever, and it was in the middle of summer. And so I put him on my chest, and he fell asleep on my chest. And I could feel him breathing. And that was just a very sweet memory because you couldn't get Brandon to ever stop running around. He always had so much energy. And so to have him actually take a second to just be still and have a moment with me, that is something I'll cherish forever.
There's so many memories. Probably my favorite right now, because it's so recent, happened within the last couple of months, just about a month before. Probably a week before he passed. I had lost my biological mother, and I work at the school, and he stopped and saw me at the school, jumped out of his truck, came and gave me a big hug, told me he was sorry for my loss, told me he was doing good in school, then looked at me and laughed and said, "I have a girlfriend," and then ran and got into his truck. And then laughed inside of his truck. And that's because it was recent. That made me laugh. He did little things like that all the time.
Do you have one word that you would use to describe him?
That's pretty hard. One word's not enough. It's a hard one. Like the one word, it's not enough.
Joy.
Heart.
Definitely a legend.
Kind.
Outgoing.
Lovable.
Courageous.
Big-hearted.
Honorable.
Energetic.
Humorous.
One word. Caring. Very caring.
Compassionate.
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 Obnoxiously kind.
Amazing.
Caring, I guess, would be. He just genuinely cared about people, cared about the sport itself. He was just an all-around caring person. You know, that's how I'd probably describe him.
Like, Brandon was just always smiling. He was always laughing. He was always, even if it was a situation that was awkward or people would get upset, he didn't get upset. He smiled, he laughed, he joked. He always found the humor in something. So I've never seen him angry.
Really?
Energetic, yeah. You never saw him gas out or anything. He'd always be bouncing around.
Usually you use this word when you're picking on somebody, but I say goofy in a very positive way. Because he just, again, I personally never saw him being down. He was just silly, having fun. And as one of the handfuls of old men on this field, it was awesome to have him out here.
A legend. Because not only has he impacted my life, but others around him. And he continues to do that through so many ways. And I thought that's cool because look at here. He's brought both sports as one as a community. And honestly, that's
what community is about. That's what family's about, and I take that to heart. And so that's why I chose the word legend as Brandon.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, he's always looking out for everybody, and even if you don't know him, you'll still say, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah, lovable is a great term for him.
Yeah, he was full of love, that's for sure.
Whenever there was any negativity, it was always the positive one.
He always does the things that most of us wouldn't do.
You know, it goes along with what I basically just said. His love and compassion for the game and people playing it.
Because no matter what you could do, you could depend on him, and he would always stick up for himself and or like help you out.
Probably joyful. I mean, he always had quite the smile on him, you know. Everywhere he went, he was always giving people hugs and spreading that smile.
He had a good sense of humor, and he liked just having fun and being funny.
Happiest freaking kid ever, no matter what. And I don't know why. I read everybody's posts about after his passing and whatnot, and how happy of a kid he was, how nice he was to everyone, and I don't know. It's always been a good kid. Yeah, he might have been a little annoying, a little too much sometimes, but he was always please, thank you, always smiling, always happy, always having a good time, always there to help someone, and that's how I'll remember him.
Loving, big, huge heart. He was a sweetheart with a big heart.
That's it.
Oh my gosh.
You could know him for maybe just one season and feel like you have known him for way longer than that. He was just that kind of person where he just made you feel like you've known him forever. Kind, warm-hearted, everything. I've just learned a lot just from his personality and everything. Just how we need to be with each other at this field when we step foot on it.
Loving. He was like a big, loving teddy bear. So that would probably be the biggest word I can think of is loving.